Before I even start the actual video, this movie, I'm just gonna get out of the way, was fantastic.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
I am so sorry. So this is the actual, fourth time, I think, the Fantastic Four have been rebooted. And, yes, face reveal. But this is a big time for me, especially I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. And as a matter of fact, I actually bought the popcorn bucket, so I'll bring that right back. So here we have the Fantastic Four popcorn bucket that I bought. I decided on the 3 or 4 super powered bucket because the Galactus one being $80 was a little out of my price range, but I love how it turned out. I just kind of wanted to show this off real quick before we talked about the movie. So let's talk about the movie. Thank you, Past Me, for the popcorn bucket demonstration. So let's finally just get on with it and talk about the film. You're mostly going to hear me talk about stuff that I've already heard online at least, about the visuals being good, which is one of the pros that I have written down, the music, but I'm going to go more in depth into it because a lot of the stuff in this movie gets overshadowed by, this is the first time we're seeing Galactus on the big screen, which is the reason my little brother went, because he loves Galactus, so we're going to have to go more in depth into the kind of pros and cons this movie has. We're first going to go over the music. The music in this film is incredible. It is top 5 MCU movies just for the music alone. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the iconic kind of tagline they have going on with the music. It is so good. Another pro that I have is the acting that each actor brings to the characters, especially Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch. Unlike most adaptations of the Fantastic Four, this movie isn't really afraid to make Johnny this kind of smart person, because he's supposed to be smart, he's an astronaut, but this movie really delves deep into that, and if you watch the movie, you'll see what I mean. Obviously, we need to talk about the visuals. This movie visually looks phenomenal. There's a couple space scenes in this film that look like Interstellar level CGI. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Another thing this movie does is it makes Galactus feel like a real threat. Like in previous Fantastic Four adaptations, he was just a cloud. Not in this movie. He feels like Godzilla level power, and he feels scary. I also have a pretty small one here, and it's just that Reed's powers, the stretchy feeling that he has, looks incredible. He really looks like he's made of a rubber band. There's a scene in the movie where that kind of goes against him, but you'll know what I mean when you watch it. It's a great film, though. I only really have 3 big cons of this film, and that's that the Thing does feel a little bit overshadowed at some points, so if you're a huge Thing fan like I am, be prepared not to really see him do a lot. He's more of that background kind of brute character. He definitely has his moments, but the other characters really overshadow him. My second kind of con is that Galactus wasn't really developed much. You don't really know what he does and why he does it. It's mainly just, he's here, he's gonna eat their planet. And that really does play into my third con here. The movie seemed a little bit short. You could have added another 15 minutes to kind of boost that runtime, and you could have used those 15 minutes to develop Galactus as this more of a threat and develop his character, because in this movie it really does feel like he's just a villain. Anyways, that's all I really have to say about the movie. If you're a big Marvel fan and you know about these characters going into it, you're really gonna love this movie. If you know, the backstory behind, Franklin, for example, you're gonna love this movie. But even, standard Marvel fans, people who don't know a lot about the comics and have only watched the movies, you're still gonna like this movie. Not as much as someone who's obviously read the comics and knows what's going on, but the characters in this film, you can really connect to them, and I find that really cool. Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four First Steps gets about an 8 out of 10 for me. It's, in my opinion, a very good movie, and if you're a big Marvel fan like I am, I would highly recommend going out, watching it on the biggest screen possible. I watched it in IMAX, and I loved it, and I really hope you do too. So, with that review out of the way, let's talk about the plot and get into some spoilers. So, this is your warning for spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, don't continue. So I wrote down the entire basic film summary and the story as soon as I left the theater, and even a bit during the credits as I waited for the post-credit scene. So here's the story. The movie starts with Sue revealing that she's pregnant, and then it basically shows the title card. And then it shows a montage of the Fantastic Four defeating villains like Mole Man and Giganto. They're in this. There's these red monkeys. If you know the comics, you know what I'm talking about. Sue actually becomes a chair lady at this organization that's kind of like the UN, I think. But there's actually the country Latveria there, and none of the leaders are there. There's their little sign, but no one's there. And for those of you who don't know, Latveria is actually Doctor Doom's country in the comics. Then after that, it cuts back to present day. Johnny and Ben kind of find out that she's pregnant, but they're soon interrupted by Shala Bal, aka Silver Surfer. Basically, you've seen in the trailers telling them their planet's gonna get devoured by Galactus. They take their ship and they go to Galactus, but Galactus wants Franklin, because he can kind of see through Sue's belly, because she's pregnant with Franklin, and he can kind of see through there, and he wants Franklin, so they leave, but Silver Surfer kind of chases after them, and they basically do this really gorgeous kind of scene in this black hole, and they're able to trap Silver Surfer in the black hole for I think a month, and then they're able to use the black hole and slingshot off. But during this whole sequence, Franklin is also being born in the back of their ship. They're able to get back to Earth, and they basically tell the public that Galactus wanted their kid, and that they said no, so the public's really upset with them for 10 minutes, and then Sue gives a speech and everyone's all fine. Reed then gets the idea to teleport Earth away from Galactus. So they basically get every country to build these beacons and set them all off when Galactus is right there. Every country builds them, but then Silver Surfer comes down and destroys all of them. But the big one that was in Times Square, where the Baxter Building kind of is, so that kind of plan failed. Then Silver Surfer kind of comes back and tries grabbing Franklin, but Johnny plays her language or something, and he can speak it, so that kind of spooks her off. Then their new kind of plan is to get Galactus to that last beacon in Times Square, use Franklin as bait, and then kind of teleport him away from Earth. Galactus kind of comes down to New York. He's Godzilla sized, but he's really comic accurate. He goes for Franklin, but realizes it's just an empty cradle now, because Johnny shot fire in his eyes or something, so he's blinded. But he realizes that it's bait, and then he goes to the Baxter Building to really steal Franklin. So he takes Franklin, and then Sue comes and kind of slowly pushes him into the portal, but he climbs back out, and then Silver Surfer comes out of nowhere and kick flips him into the portal, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. There's a little scene at the end with them back at that TV place, the Ted something show from the trailers. You'll see it in the background throughout the trailer I'm playing, but that happens, and then pretty much that's the movie. But, of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel movie without a post-credits scene. This one actually has two, but we're going to be mainly talking about the first one. The first one, it's Sue reading a book to Franklin. She leaves to grab another book or something, but comes back, and Doctor Doom is sitting there holding Franklin. Now, you don't get to see RDJ's face. He's just kind of a green cloak with the mask, but it's definitely Doctor Doom. The second post-credit scene really isn't much. It's kind of just a clip from a pretty old Fantastic Four cartoon, and a little quote by Jack Kirby, which is kind of bittersweet, but it's nice. So anyways, that's going to wrap up the video today. I saw the movie on opening day, but it's probably going to post on the 26th, but I saw it on the 25th. Great movie. I already gave my review on it. I might even boot it up to like an 8.5 to a 9. I love this movie so much. Anyways, that's about it. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments, and see you guys. Peace out.